from doubt. Let the water wash away your sins. And those banks keep getting bigger, while your pockets empty out. Let the water wash away your sins. And if all the thieves and liars have been knocking at your door, let the water wash away your sins. And they said they feed your family, you believe what they swore. Let the water wash away your sins. Let the water wash away your sins. Let the water wash away your sins. Now that this old world is ending, a new one begins. Let the water wash away your sins. Da, 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 da. If you thought there was a heaven, but you can't find the proof, let the water wash away your sins. And you can see your brothers marching, but you can't speak your truth. Let the water wash away your sins. If your mother was a screamer and your father ruled with fists, let the water wash away your sins. And if you're thinking about the highway and you're looking at your wrist, let the water wash away your sins. Let the water wash away your sins. Let the water wash away your sins.
Hello everyone, my name is Nopata and on and I write games for fun. So what are we working on today? Well, we're going to be working on actually doing the white whale of this entire thing. The forces, which is going to be a pain in my ass because I'm going to have to write effectively everything pretty high. Also, I asked a few people for waifus committing war crimes, and I found them. Wow, there's a lot of pictures of waifus committing a lot of war crimes, and I'm like, wow. I thought the anime, commando community was fairly extensive, but no, there's more. There's always more. So, what does this exactly mean, what we're going to be doing today? Oh, okay, so to answer everyone's saying, yeah, don't question any of Kaiserreich's flawless, right? Everyone laugh. Everyone agree that Kaiserreich is flawless in all its ways, and if you insult Kaiserreich, you're evil. But secondly, the game jam. I've gotten one submission for the game jam. One. Yeah. Best part is, it's technically a PNG a guy scribbled down of all his rules, because he thought when I said on one page that it literally meant on a single piece of paper. So he scribbled it all down on a piece of paper and sent me it. So I have to decipher it. I'm ready. I want off the ride. No, I think it's just because we're 2 days in. That and there's another game jam going on right now. This is my first one of doing these. I effectively just said, send me a PDF. Because the goal of it was that I was going to gather everything and put them all in a single big document. And put it on the next homebrew thread I was going to put together. And be like, hey, look at all these cool examples for the thread question. And I think people are getting weirdly caught up on some of the intricacies of it, being like, oh, well, we obviously want to do like the full chess thing. How do you summarize every piece of chess's rules in one page? Or they're like, oh, well, my card game only can use rules that I understand. I'm like, just write anything down. Just write anything at this point, please. That's all I'm asking. Like... literally write anything. So I think it's I've learned a little bit for future game jams. Let's see. I'm going to talk to Fixie. Whiskey and tea, very good, by the way. Yep, can it? Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. So, what we're going to have to do is the platoon. Okay, so we need to get rid of this entire thing, and we're going to have to rewrite it. The platoon is the characters group of soldiers and hangers-on that follow them into the hellish existence known as war. While they may fight in your name, while they may fight being trained, armed properly, or even knowing why they are fighting, is a hotly debated topic. War requires bodies. And the individuals willing to use them. And I'm hoping I get a at least a number of. Well, let me do this. Let's make that go away. Hello, cops, by the way. Platoon composition and situation. Yeah, no, I'm hoping by at least next week, I'm hoping to get at least a few more entries, and I've had a lot of people express interest in it. I'm just curious to see how it goes. From there, I can kind of see what to do for future endeavors. Today was me mostly working on a GDG thread that popped up randomly. That was interesting. I worked on that some bit, writing thread. A wonderful batch of people of having to manage things. A lot of things to manage. Let me check all the various. Also going on a long-winded rant about the indie game market, but that's a different story for a different time. And actually, what I'm going to do, I need to get rid of all of them except one, just so I can keep the format. 'Cause I'm very anal about formatting. Platoon composition. Depending on the force, a platoon can be comprised of many different individuals from all walks of life. At the start of the campaign, the characters will design and determine their initial platoon setup and origin. Not all platoons are designed equally. Some have advantages. Others have significant problems to go through. Depending on the force, significant compose. When starting a campaign, players will be allotted a certain amount of forces, depending on by their start. The initial forces are not the only ones players will amass, simply what they start with. And alright, so we're going to have insurgency. But our average is going to be around 50 to 100 forces points. I'll call them FPs for now. Actually, I could probably call them something else, but as of right now, I'm going to keep the basic nomenclature. Nomenclature? Yeah, that's the right word. I'm going to keep the basic wording in place just to keep my own sanity in check, because, good God, this is sometimes a little bit annoying. So, the militia platoon. Drafted out of times of necessity. The militia is a quick to call upon force of basic trained infantry that can hold the line. Or push en masse against enemy positions. What they lack in actual training, equipment, or ability, they make up for in sheer numbers. So we're going to have 100 forces points. Let me just... Maximum training is armed civilians. Can only select can only select one of each FU except for militia. Actually, I want to drop that down to 75. I gotta redo all the names here. We have to do it per squad effectively. Women. Let's see, 75 more. Infantry weapons can only be up to, I need to zippity-doo. Up to service rifles. Scrolling. Can only spend 25. You can actually only spend 15. Other force points on support weapons. Actually, support weapons. We'll actually bump that up to 25 on force points on support weapons, vehicles, or unique weapons. You really don't have anything, because you are a bunch of militia. And that's kind of the point. You're not supposed to be these hard-ass, cool badasses who are super cool and awesome. You're the exact opposite of that. You're a bunch of militia. Federal platoon. Actually, federal detachment. The federal troops are the rank and file of the war against the Imperial Army. Words per minute kind of depends on how I'm typing, and like this, my WPM isn't massive. If I actually kind of know what I'm typing and know what I want to type, I can go a lot faster. But I'm kind of going off the cuff of what I'm writing right now, so bear in mind of my slow-ass typing. Federal troops are rank and file in war against the Imperial Army. They're often equipped the best they can be, but often lose access to some of the finer pieces of equipment the federal forces can offer. 100 forces points, and minimum training is minimum training is trained. Cannot select militia. And that's it. If you want to have an entire army of federal psychopaths, go for it. Oh god, what's the... Probably a good way of putting this. Prison, conscripts. Times of war calls for desperate measures, including mass Poland during World War II is very fascinating because they got dabbed on. It's the thing is, like, no one expected some of the shit the Poles had to pull because they didn't really have a super modernized army at that point. They had actually a pretty decent sized army, but it was woefully out of date because, again, yeah, we don't mention the Russians coming in from the other side. We don't mention that. Yeah, and then there was the Warsaw Uprising, which, if you want to read about some really messed up stuff, it's the Warsaw Uprising. Just because they kind of knew it was a suicide mission, but they did it anyway, and it was like, oof. Like, Warsaw rapidly depleted in population. Mass drafting out of the local prison system. Yeah, after they took the Sudetenlands, the Poles are like, wait a second. We own a little bit of German territory, don't we? Like, oh no. Oh no. Germany, no. But so the Allies were like, no, we won't support you. And like, oh, Jesus. Times of war calls for dismissal, clean mass drafting out of the local prison system. These individuals lack in anything regarding morals or independence, but make up for it in the desire to be free after their tour of duty. They will probably die, but they'll die relatively free. We'll give them 75 forces points, and they can select everything. Actually, yeah, 75 forces points, and I cannot select. Actually, let's check the FUs again. Because I changed all the. And so we have militia, infantry, rangers, marines, guards, engineers, scouts, and raiders. I cannot select marines. Yeah, order guards. Actually, cannot select. And they can select pretty much everything. No, but what I should do, if we scroll all the way down here, cannot select any vehicles. Any vehicles or unique weapons. And what do we? And what's the final one for conscripts? Yes. Everyone hates you. Expect to be sent out to die. Alright, so we have 3 forces as of right now. So I'm going to paste these right here, and they're going to look absolutely horrific. Control Shift 8. Three. Yeah, it would be 3. Control Shift 8. Control Shift 8. So what would be some other good forces to send blindly out into the zones to die horrifically in the trenches? Conscripts are the more Russian variety of just throwing them out into the middle of the death. Militia platoon, the militia is pretty easy. Federal detachment. There's some other good ones. Oh, I know. Dark skin. I'm gonna have to dark skin. There we go. Dark Zen. Dark Zen. Regulated platoon. Actually, what I shouldn't type it in here is being a member of the Darks and people. Some people effectively means that you are the indirect cause of the war, and in turn the destroyer of everyone's livelihoods and loss of lives. It's your civic duty to avenge the sins of your ancestors and die for your country. Because they sure as hell want you to. Ironically, the Dark Sins don't. They're like the palest motherfuckers in the game. But there's also nobody's dark-skinned in Valkyria Chronicles. I can't recall a single character who has darker skin than like light mocha. And I mean like a really light mocha. Like it's 95% milk latte. The only difference is that they have black hair. That is literally the only thing that separates them from the common masses. I mean, I'd be screwed because I have a dark brown hair. It's just like, ah, yes. How can I forget? Because, like, here, Valkyria Chronicles. Okay, go away. Go away, Welkin. Oh my god. Okay. So, you get some weird shit like that girl right there. Yeah, no, she's effectively Jewish. And that's her adopted brother. Yeah, and then but it's like his hair is darker, and it's like, ah, yes, obviously he must be a dark. It's like, what happened if you just have darker hair? Like, yeah, no, European racism's hilarious. It reminds me when I was doing some work in college about Nigerian racism. If you ever want to see something very amusing, it's when it comes down to in Nigeria about with the Igbo, the Hausa, and the Yoruba. It is so amusing how they are so fucking racist against each other. They despise one another, and it's hysterical. Yeah, no, we don't talk about the Romani. I have an interesting history with them. Interesting folk, don't get me wrong. Interesting. Take that with a grain of salt, of course. Let's see. 75 forces points. Cannot select any vehicles or unique weapons. Everyone hates you. Expect to die. And cannot select any infantry weapons above service rifles. Expect little to no assistance in the field. I'm going to allow that, obviously. Yeah, no, it's the Europeans. Yeah, Europeans do not like Romani. I know that much. But you get some weird shit across that, like the entire overly incredible word, like the Uyghurs. I want to say that's how you pronounce it in like China. Like no one ever comments about that, which I always find a little bit weird. I knew a guy in. It was funny. I knew a guy in college. He was not Shia. He was. I can see it. It was one of the smaller religious groups in the Middle East. He was a part of that, and some of the shit that he got jumped a bunch in on campus by other Muslim students because he was just the wrong religion. And then you have just like the really weird people in Japan, the lower class Japanese people, as they would like to say, who no one ever talks about again because Japan's fine, everybody loves each other. No, racism is alive and well across the world, but no one talks about it because it's not as easy to point out as some of the shit that we see over here in Burgerland. You're Darkson. You are Darkson. That reminds me, I need to actually put in a section in potentials. Problems. Okay. I'll put a little side note in. I have to put a little side note in here. I meant to do this yesterday, but I forgot about it. Side note. Being a Darkson. Being a Darkson is not a flaw. It is not a flaw, but you can use your relatively oppressed upbringing as one. You caused the end of the world. You almost caused the end of the world, according to 99% of the world. Your people are hated, and your people do do little to assist that stereotype that is permanently thrown around. Remember that. You're a human in the eyes of the law, but subhuman in the eyes of the lawgivers. Insert table one by one. Costa Rica. Whoa, we're not. Don't bring up the magic, please. Let me believe I don't have to worry about that yet. I don't know how I want to do it yet. Ragnite's going to be fairly easy to do just because I can just put that in with the narcotics section. But like legit magic that is around, that's a completely different ball of wax that I have to deal with. Just due to the nature of it being Valkyria bullshit. That's really the only way I can force this cost a squad. That's the only thing I can really assign to it. It's like it's pretty bullshit. Forces cost. Militia, infantry, rangers, marines, engineers, scouts. I feel like I'm missing something. Oh, raiders. Raiders, and we'll call that a 5. Personnel, children, criminals, elderly. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a footnote. Imperial forces only. Oh, that reminds me. I should put an Imperial platoon in here, shouldn't I? Imperial platoon. I will most likely end up fixing this, as I just need to do that. I usually like sorting it by the personnel, but I'll probably end up fixing it depending on how I'm feeling. Let's see. 125 forces versus points. God bless the Emperor. God save the Empire from these uneducated, uncivilized, and generally boorish federalists and God-forsaken Galleons. The Imperial Army is the strongest army in Europa, and as proud members of the Imperial force, it is your duty to win this war for the Emperor or the Empire, even if it costs you your life. And I can say God bless the Emperor because God is I can only assume Judeo-Christian God is the one here, because they reference God a lot, like every now and like, oh God. So I can only assume that we just have anime Catholicism in place. a distinctly separate branch of Catholicism where nuns can wear sexy clothing, and it's Shintoism. It's Shintoism, everyone. The Anime Catholic Church is a Shinto shrine LARPing as a Catholic church. It's very amusing. I love anime Catholic churches because they're just dumb. Very dumb. And 125 force. Minimum training is trained. As a fine member of the Imperial Army, you have to pray your commander is good friends with requisitions. Now, what I should do is, this I'm probably going to fix it, change some of the names. But I should just, mix it up and see what happens and watch someone find me and murder me in my sleep. That's what I want. That's what I'm expecting. Just mix everyone. Just trigger someone's OCD. That would be the pièce de résistance right there. But yeah, no, why is this in place? Effectively, being a member of an Imperial force, you have to deal with the politics behind everything. You can't just request forces. No, you have to make sure that the commander has his nice bottle of wine that he can give to the requisition officer, and the requisition officer has to give it to the supreme commander, and then the supreme commander has to make sure that he kind of likes you, which he can then authorize. It's very personalist. It's very inefficient, but the Imperial Army is massive. And it's very autocratic in its own way. It's very odd because if you look at throughout the games, a lot of the Imperial forces are nobility. And so if you take it kind of to its logical extreme, you can pretty much say that majority of people, if you are not in the know or you're not in the personal circle of some people, you're going to end up in some situations where you don't get supplies because the Supreme Commander doesn't like you. You've fallen out of favor with him. Make sure you do better next time. So it's like, perfect. We're not getting any more soldiers. This is fine. Forces cost. Squad. Personnel, forces cost, squad. Squeed. I still need to fix the old and scavenge service rifles. Service rifles. Because if you want me to say a dirty little secret here is I like the Imperial aesthetic more than anyone else's. Imperial Armory. And to write it down. But yeah, no, it's the Imperials do generally have this kind of a German Empire look to them. I always think that kind of looks neat. It kind of contrasts the noble galleons and their battle skirts and weird battle blue armor in the middle of the desert. But they also... it's bad because every villain you encounter who are Imperial, they just act like complete jackasses, or you end up in a Valkyria Chronicles 4, which like, oh yeah, they're regular human beings, kind of chauvinists in their own weird way, but we like them, so it's fine. Tonks. Field hospital, high explosive. Forces cost. Squad. Squeed. Okay, so let's make one of these out of pure theory. So I'm going to make a conscript. So conscript, platoon. We'll make them Imperials because I can. Imperial detention unit number 232. And we have 75 forces, no vehicles / unique weapons. Let's get some squads. So we are going to need, we'll get two train squads, 2 veteran, 2 train, so that's going to be 2, 8, so that's bringing us already up to 20, so we're down to 55 forces. And fighting unit, we're going to make Rangers, so that's going to be 555. No, actually that's 20, so that brings us down to 35. Actually, what we're going to do, we'll make the trained raiders instead. Rangers and raiders. And obviously they're going to be criminals. That's actually what I should do for the... all squads must have the criminal personnel. So let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. So that brings us down to 227. Yeah, it brings us down to 27. And we're gonna slap psychopaths on these 2. Reduce it by another 4. So we're down to 23. We're going to give them service rifles. Service rifles. High quality 2. High quality 2. So 0024, and that brings us down to 19 points. And support weapons. Support weapons, we're going to make these guys heavy weapons. 5. And we're going to make these guys terror weapons. Actually, we can give these guys sniper rifles. These guys, the raiders don't get anything. And so that by 10, so let's bring that down to 9. And we can't have any of these cool things because we suck. So, you have 9 forces points left over. let's see how we want to outfit our 4 squads here. So we can... Actually, what I can do is let's bump up. So let's see, that brings it up 6 points. So bring one of these guys up would be 6, and then we can grab, put 3 elsewhere. Yeah, let's bring you up to veterans. And veterans are 8, so that brings us down to 3 points. And soldiers of fortune. A little bit more. I guess what we can do here is we can make you infantry. And actually, no, let's keep you as raiders. Let's make you infantry. Bring you down 3, gives us 5 forces points to work with, and then we can slap 5, another 5. We can actually slap grenadiers. No, we can grab terror weapons on these guys. Terror weapons 5. Alright, there we go. Here's Imperial Detention Unit 232. So, effectively, here, let me make sure this looks alright. So if we see here, our boys, I can zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So we have 4 squads. That means we have about 40 soldiers under our command, plus our command staff, which are the PCs. So our first squad here, we'll call them Squad A. Squad A is our budget assholes we don't really care about. And they're actually going to have training die of D. Let's see, actually. If you have train D8, and you are psycho criminals and psychopaths, you're going to have a D12 as your training. And veterans. And then we have Squad B, who are going to be actually, let's see, there would be, damn, D20s. These guys are absolute fucking ballers, but they're also complete raging psychopaths. Our Squad C are going to be D12s. If I'm looking at this correctly, because you go up by 1, so if you're veteran, you go up to, yeah, go up to professional at D12s, and that means Squad D. D is also veterans. So, Squad A is kind of our front and go get 'em guy. Squad B is our a little bit more terrifying ones because they are raiders, i.e. they get a lot more tools, a lot more toys to work with. And if we go to our handy dandy thing here and we scroll all the way up, so we scroll all the way up, yeah, so again, here's all our training die. +1, +1. And if we go to Raiders right here, they have 2 against everything, and they also ignore entrenched and fortified situations. So we want to charge with those guys and have them get in there. They also have terror weapons. What inspired me to make the one-page rules game jam? So, as I drink my tea with whiskey in it, 2 things. 1, at the start of next month, I'm going to be starting the next homebrew thread, and that's going to be the pitch of the thread of making a tiny game for your setting, based entirely around one guy's set of games I thought was interesting. And effectively, I wanted to get a series of games from other people to get the ball rolling in that regard. The second reason, you could say, is a while ago there was a thing in Meta on the GDG, which was, who was it? Was it BB? I want to say it was KBB, Smirth. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm 95% sure it was her. But she mentioned, like, oh, she wanted to get a game jam of the royal game of and kind of play around with stuff like that, and just never really took off. Obviously, that descended into shitting on TG, but I digress. And that gave me an idea, kind of putting two and two together, like, oh, let's do a game jam based around a game that is played in your setting. It's simple to understand. That's the one-page rules. Because there are games of chance all across history. You can find just about any game out there, and people will have probably played a variation of it, or doesn't matter what culture there is, people will have games that they've played. Hell, fucking chimpanzees have weird little games of chance that they, do and create. So it was kind of a two birds, one stone. So get material for the next homebrew thread, as well as get people interested in some weird little aspects of it, of games in general. Because again, it's a fascinating thing to think about, being like, what about is in your setting that differentiates it from it? And I remember reading that guy's games. He had things like, it was kobold cards, and ogre dice. And the entire idea about kobold cards was that you don't have a full set of cards, because obviously kobolds would steal a deck of cards, but they would drop cards, things get destroyed. So, and all the face cards were them cheating. I thought that was just really flavorful of how it was done. That guy of that guy. Yeah, they're anons on TG. I can't really say this. Like, yes, it's these people. And unless you're the one who wrote kobold cards and ogre dice and all that. Yeah, that. Dang, I like that. Yeah, no, I thought it was a fascinating idea. I'll have to take a look at that. But it was just kind of that concept and that idea that got me interested. Because I've encountered, like, a lot of people in the various threads I post in that are world builders primarily. Like, they don't even play games hardly. So getting them to think about stuff like that gets them in the game designer mood. Even if it's just a little dice game, like, congratulations, you've successfully made something that is game design. So feel free to post it in the game design thread that I have made, so we can reach that critical mass easier. God, what strawberry whiskey. Let's check the discords and make sure nothing is falling apart. Oh, wow. Everyone's getting mad about war crimes. I don't know why. Hey, I make it a point to try to read everything in those threads. So here's the Imperial Detention, the 232s. They're pretty hardcore, not gonna lie. They're pretty hardcore, but you're going to go into situations where you're going to probably die, and half your men are raging lunatics. And the other half are, high quality criminals who, have heavy weapons, sniper rifles. So your command staff, you're going to play a very different games with this, like the conscript platoon versus something like, let's say, you wanted to invest in a lot more poorly trained squads, so you can actually boost this up to 60, 70 soldiers, each with their own amounts of equipment and personnel attached to them. So it's kind of that, how do you want to do it? Do you want to have lower amount of high quality soldiers, or do you want to have a higher amount of lower quality soldiers? So, but that does confirm it works, and that's what I was mostly hoping for. And let's see, so a lot of these guys, their training die is actually fairly low, so they break really fast. They're just really good at fighting. Okay, so that brings me down to platoon, conscript, imperial platoons. Arts of Darkness, we want to go to... Do I not have a... Time to open up a new Google Sheet. I have nothing against people who just write lore stuff. Like, I can't really have anything against people like that. It's I would like it if everyone, posted in things like the GDG anytime that got made, and we got to bump limit every time, but I know that's just not a thing that happens anymore. And nothing bad about it. People are people. Data, turn off filter. I assign these ones by cost just because it makes a little bit more sense. And table properties, center, middle. I didn't mean this. I didn't mean that. Center, table alignment left. Slap a picture right there. Personnel, just imperial forces only. Go away. Small child with AK-47. Grenadiers. You're in alphabetical order. You're in alphabetical order. Yeah, you're in alphabetical. Cool. Okie dokie then. Now we're down here to... we don't want that. We want platoon management. Okay, so now we get to the part where things are a little bit more confusing. So, okay, platoon management. So we need to get rid of all of you. Platoon management. As war continues, soldiers will grow hungry and desperate. This is where platoon management comes into play. Every season. Let's see. Actually, losses need to be replaced. Supplies delivered. And men to be encouraged. And soldiers to be encouraged. This is where platoon management comes into play. Every season, all controlled points. So it's going to be every season. High command. High command will distribute resources to all deployed platoons in the field. If resources are scarce, the platoon leader will need to distribute supplies to their soldiers. This also goes for soldiers. Soldiers who pass away in the midst of combat. Forcing command to get forcing high command to distribute additional soldiers to the platoon. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so at the end of the season, resources are distributed among fighting platoons, among platoons and other operational locations. Priority of supplies and reinforcements is determined by mission success. By mission success during the previous season, as well as commander attributes, as well as commander perks. There are no supplies or reinforcements left. They do not. Actually, if an FU does not receive additional supplies, their soft attack and hard attack are reduced by 2. If an FU does not receive additional reinforcements, they do not regenerate strength at the start of the season. So the intent of this system right here is effectively the game master is going to be high command. And depending on how well you are doing, you're going to get rewarded. You're going to get more supplies, you're going to get more soldiers. You're effectively going to get more things to play with. If you aren't doing too well, you're going to not get you're pretty much going to be shunted down to the priority of these things. However, if no other platoons suffer casualties, reinforcements are going to come in and you're going to get reinforcements. However, if everyone suffered casualties, you might be the dead last people to get them, and you may not be able to fill out all your squads again. And they may all be injured, thus you want to be conservative about things. Okay. Operational integrity reduces by 1. Operational integrity is the overall state of the current of the current operation. If operational integrity ever falls to 0, that force will retreat back, having lost their having to will retreat be that force will retreat from the area, conceding victory to the opponent. Morale, let's see. Operational integrity. No, more. Actually, what I should do, yeah. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Large say org bonus 3, 2, 1. Additional. Let's see. All platoons receive +5 forces points every season. Defending force gains +2 to organization. Attacking force gains +2 to organization. Non-combat platoons begin to fall back. Combat force completely routs. So, what do I mean by integrity of the operation? How that is actually working? So effectively, how every adventure, you could say, is going to be an operation. It's going to be a series of situations, of battles, and ideas that will kind of result in a final thing of trying to be accomplished. So, for example, we need to take the town of Yaza. We need to retake this town of this city of Yaza from the enemy. Every season, you're not making progress. Every season that things aren't going well, people are dying, you're getting bogged down, you're losing the integrity of the operation. Or if you're on the defending side, it's the opposite. Every time you begin losing ground, you're losing up, the integrity of your operation. At 0, pretty much when everything has completely collapsed, whoever has hit 0 first is in full rout. So what you want to do you want to manage this integrity of this operation. You want to make sure that your people are doing well, because the better you do, the more success you're going to have. But you can get bogged down very easily, and suddenly people start dying. People start, supplies becomes very limited. Actually, what I should do Actually, one. Supplies. Supplies. And reinforcements. Full supplies and reinforcements. Actually, what I should say. Excessive supplies. And reinforcements. Full supplies and reinforcements. So let's see, actually. So if we're going off the idea of a normal combat operation would be a brigade, roughly. Where are you? So we're roughly looking at probably company-sized. Yeah, that's a company battalion size. Nope, didn't mean to go down that far. Oh, going down too far. Oh, oh, oh. I don't know how I want to do this yet, so I like operational integrity, though. I think the idea here works. It is on a scale of 10. 10 to 0. Being victorious in battles and completing objectives. Objectives as well as side objectives will raise integrity. But losing battles or failing to accomplish certain goals will lead to a drop in integrity. Okay, so, oh god, okay. Actually, what I can do... where are you? Where are you? Iron Casket. The authentic tank riding simulator. Heavy armored warfare. Regiment composition. Oh, we got people in here for some reason. Battles and scenarios. What do I want here? I know I want something. What am I looking for here? so the campaign. The campaign is the large-scale picture of the conflict, with thousands of individual pieces moving to and fro as they play a dangerous game with the lives of young soldiers on the battlefield. The default setting of Valkyria Chronicles is primarily set. The default setting is primarily it's the Second European War, if I remember correctly. I want to say it's the Second European War. Second European War. Valkyria Chronicles. East European Imperial Alliance, and yes. Out go. Begone, fandom. Oh, wait, yeah. Okay, yeah, during the EW2. Valkyria Chronicles is primarily the second European War during the during the year of 1935. I'm pretty sure it started. Yeah, it's in 35, early months of war in 35. The Imperial Alliance gained the upper hand during the year of 1935. While the, if I can actually spell, while the main story takes place in the nation's, in the small nation state of Gallia, there is a massive front to run war stories along. This is also including various, let's see, 12th Army Group. So technically, God, this. Let's see, massive. This is also including various micro wars and rebellions happening in certain countries. When determining where you wish to set the campaign, take note of what kind of stories and adventures you wish the platoon to undergo. Welcome to Federation bad. Atlantic Federation bad. East European Imperial Alliance bad. Yeah, you wish to platoon on to go. Let's see. Hello, Galleon Civil War. This is the setting of 2, if I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah, during the second game, that nobody... Yeah, you joke that's a Gallia is a petrol state. That's literally the only purpose of it. Europa, Valkyria Chronicles. Give me the map. Give me the big frackin' map. The better one. What the? I don't really care about your lore, Valkyria Chronicles. Give me the goddamn map. That's all I want for Christmas is your goddamn map. This will have to do. So, this is the map. This is Europa. Yeah, space oil crystals, yeah. They have a civil war because the federal government, pretty much the UK, sponsors a civil war inside of their country. That's just the thing that occurs, and like they don't mention all these southern states, which I'm curious of like what these southern states do. Like if we can assume the equator's about like right there. Like, are these like not like that's kind of like not Greece maybe? Like there's not France. I mean fuck Spain I guess. Is this all like one super France? Is this like literally, you know, have the Dutch taken over everything? The not Dutch? And like what the hell are these things? Like right up here. What are these? And like fuck Norway I guess. Yeah, this is welcome to Spain, everyone. Yeah, here's your Spain. You like it? I like Spain too. Yeah, Greece is kind of left out of it. Italy got gimped. I don't know. Like, I'm assuming this is not Saudi Arabia. Look at poor Italy. Yeah, like is this Greece? Like poor Turkey down here. Like this is the Balkan states. This is literally the Balkans. God, that's such a fucked perspective. Yeah, I guess you are right. They are the Netherlands. So I was wrong about them being the Swiss. Then what makes this little country? Oh God, are you? Yeah, well, it's just kind of the perspective so fugged. Like, I look at, I'm thinking of like here's Spain, here's France. You move here, here's where Germany would be. And then, like, here's where, like, Russia would normally be. If, like, I'm looking at a normal European map. You know, here, give me 1 second. I will pull up a normal European map. Map of Europe. Like... Okay, so... There's that. Yeah, begone, notepad. So here's Europe. You know, we got Spain right here. Now if we go up, like I guess if you like twist it around a bit, Yeah, it's like Germany and Russia are one supercontinent. Like, I don't know what happened over here. I mean, Sweden's evil, I guess. Like, Sweden just turned evil. God, let me see what I can... Okay, give me 1 second. So, we go here. I'm gonna... Yeah, like, why is Norway independent? Like, Norway was the exact opposite of independent during World War II. Or does Japan just think Norway's Sweden? Okay, so... Notepad, I need you to go away for a second. And I need to do... Where are you? Oh, God, I'm getting a phone call. Give me 1 second, everybody. I'm going to... All right, hello everyone. I'm back. But yeah, no, here's the maps. So here we have, like, you can kind of see, like, maybe can it, like there's, what the hell? I did, like you can obviously see what's supposed to be what. If you can even make out what this is, this might just be completely dying, I don't know. But, like, here's France. So if we look at France right over here, and... Honestly, yeah, I mean, they even have Ireland! Why do they have Ireland? Like, there's Ireland. Here, I'm trying to... There's Ireland. There's Ireland. Like, what? What? Oh, perfect. Yeah, there we go. Let's just... thank you, can of soda. Yeah, so here's the, like, Gallia, like, Spain... Like, Spain, I guess, can be, like, a little further down, and, like, Italy got reversed. I mean, like, all I'm saying is oof. Like, oof at Germany, oof at Sweden, like, Sweden getting conquered. I mean, have no fear, everyone. Yeah, I think that may have been the case, because we also have this. So kind of hard to see. This is a fan map of what everything's supposed to look like. This is a fan interpretation. Here, let me see if I can't open it up to make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so oh, that's not working. So yeah, here's the fan map. Like, can I open that up all the way? Yeah, okay. Like, you can kind of make out where everything's supposed to be. I mean, yeah, we don't talk about the sea level or whatever the hell happened there. It's like, here's, like, America looks like, I mean, screw Mexico, I guess. India got drowned. Poor Australia. I'm surprised Japan isn't decided, They even have Korea in here. Like, what is this hell? What is this hell? But no, we're getting distracted. We are getting distracted. Here, let me just be gone, Europe. Nobody likes you anyway. When determining where you set your play, take note of what kind of stories and adventures you wish the platoon to undergo. Deep jungle fighting in the Far East. Feast or Siberia, or not Siberian. Tundra expeditions in the farther north are all valid. And this is my example one of Orilde. Jonathan Nimbe. Large scale, individual pieces, individual moving. Okay, a point of interest is a location inside the state, inside the campaign zone. That is important for the operation, for either cultural, economic, or manpower reasons. Every country has 6 kinds of POI in them: cities, villages, resource points, wealth points, cultural points, tactical points. Some POI may be converted into different advanced. You know, to see benefits from the POI conversion costs, flat 10. Resources to fully resource points, and we're gonna drop this cultural points. Cities. Dropping wealth, but we're gonna make 1 permanent operational integrity. Hello, phone. +4, and we're gonna say +4 resources, +20 manpower. Hi, phone. What do you need? Let's see. Oh, gosh. We aren't questioning it. We aren't questioning anything, Can. Do not wonder. There are deserts. Here, let me... Valkyria Chronicles desert mission. Yeah, a desert encounter. Let's see. Encounter in the desert, 6th chapter. Various desert. Yeah, the Eastern Gallian Basin. Several tens of kilometers across. Yeah, there's just literally a desert in Gallia, by the way. You know that, micro... Yeah, that micro state. There is a literal desert in there. Like, remember that. There's a desert. Let's see. Yeah, no, welcome to, yeah, give me Valkyria. I know Valkyria Chronicles 4 is roughly Valkyria Chronicles on the Eastern Front. Yeah, Valkyria Chronicles 4 isn't even in fucking Gallia. let's see. There's here's all the main characters that. Do you like them? Do you like all your main characters? Look at them. All of them are nice. Everyone laugh. Everyone clap, please. Yeah, so this is taking place in first combat mission. Yeah, and Frozen Hellscates. Yeah, it's Frozen Hellscapes. Because, okay, so it was... Valkyria Chronicles 1 was about the first Galleon conflict. Valkyria Chronicles 2 was during the Rebellion, which you literally play a class of high school students as you kill your way across, kill an insurgency. Valkyria Chronicles 3 was a penal unit of Galleons fighting against the Empire, but it's like you're the hidden story of what actually happened. And then 4 is located somewhere. I don't fucking know where. Like, I played 1, and I know the memes of 3 and 4. Everything is cold now. I have no fear. Let's see, 20 plus manpower. 5 supplies. 20 plus. Cities, major locations of population. Population are always of strategic importance. However, a direct assault on these cities is often a death sentence. Unless they are starved out. Small yet unimportant parts of the country of the area that provides economic place as well as the agricultural sector. Not terribly rich, but come ready to assist those. They are often not terribly rich, but supply valuable resources to the cause, to the war effort. And they give us +3 supplies. And +5 manpower. And forward operating base. The village is now considered a major supply point and is well defended. Resource point +2 supplies. And we're going to have to do what would be a good place to boost. Actually, FOB and is well defended, +1 operational integrity. Resource supply points. All right. Yeah, no, it's cities are very weird to attack in any modern sense, because if they are even remotely dug in, you end up in Stalingrad, where it's like, all right, go in there and get slaughtered. If they're not dug in, you're pretty fine to, get in there and actually establish some points. How I actually do it in Hearts of Darkness is you have to assault. In Hearts of Darkness, how it's done is you have to assault the suburbs first. And then you have to move into the outskirts of the city. Then you'd have to take the core of the city. And each time the defenders are getting more and more entrenched. But if what you're supposed to do, it's like, if what you're supposed to do in that situation is bomb the living shit out of them, you turn the entire city to rubble. But at that point, the city isn't worth anything, and you just look like a monster for bombing civilians into the dirt. So it's kind of the catch-22 with them. Like, you have to starve people out. Supply points, resource points of value, size, food with troops, and resource value, source of leverage for village loyalty, as well as denying enemy points and denying enemy resources. Let's see, with +5 supplies. Industrial point +2 supplies. Supply post. Supply post +1 operational integrity. Begone wealth points, cultural points, +1 operational integrity. Making cultural point to propaganda space, operational integrity. Actually, what I should do is -1 opposing force, operational integrity. And victory square, and +1 operational integrity. There we go. Done what before? Bomb them into submission without any effort. Well, you end up in things like Battle of Fallujah, where we dislodged them. It was a bloodbath, but we did it. So, cultural points, tactical points. So, okay. Example tactical point would be the Golan Heights in Syria. Large plateau that overlooks the entire country and able to have artillery set up on it. Other tactical points can be dams, major bridges, deep woods, or anything that confer a fairly major advantage for the characters or enemy forces. Holding POI. I wonder if there's the fantasy. Yeah, I'm like, is the fantasy UN going to get involved? Holding a POI requires troops. Requires at least a platoon of troops. Actually, a platoon. It requires at least a squad of troops. Troops to harvest of the force to harvest its resources and continue its operations. However, as the war escalates, As the conflict escalates, points may switch hands quite often, leading to mass destruction of each point. This is represented by collateral damage. Every battle takes place in a POI increases its collateral damage by what? 5 collateral damage. It produces half of its value, rounded down. And at 10 collateral damage, it produces none of its resources. Certain actions such as use of artillery, such as a mass use of artillery, shock and awe tactics, or simply gunning down every civilian will quickly raise the collateral damage. Then we have the random POI generator. Collateral produces half. Certain shock and awe tactics, rounded down. Random POI generating. Cities, 1d3. Actually, cities is going to be 1d3 minus 1. Villages, not 3d10. We're going to make those 3d6 plus 2. Resource points, 2d6 plus 3. We do not have any wealth points. Supply points, cultural points, 1d3 minus 2. Actually, 1d3 minus 1. Tactical points, 1d6. Making your own operation. There's a few ways for you, the narrator, to make your desired operation location. If you feel particularly creative, you can doodle out to your heart's desire, drawing little roads or connection points between valuable points of interest. If you're more creative, feel free to put it on a grid, probably a hex grid for maximum effect, and map out the various terrains in POI. Whatever you do, don't bunch up a lot of POIs right next to each other or spread them out haphazardly. Determine where things should be. Cities aren't going to be a mile away from each other, but a few diamond mines may be. Villages need resources just as much as anyone else, so a village may be located to a supply point or two. Tactical and cultural points can be anywhere, but remember they have a tactile or cultural. They have to be tactical or cultural. A large monolith in the middle of the desert is pretty much a cultural location. Make your operation what you want it to be. What I'm going to have to do is I'm going to watch a shit ton of videos probably today and tomorrow about good old-fashioned ARMA operations, because that's kind of what I'm going to have to base this off of slightly. So, war crimes. War crime is a crime committed in the name of war or victory. Simply evil acts deny enemy resources. Regardless of the reason of war crime, it will take place if the opportunity and desperation presents itself. A war crime takes place on a POI as 2 separate tiers, pillaging and destroying. Pillaging a POI is sacking and taking everything that isn't nailed down with you. POI does not produce additional resources for the next year when it is pillaged. Destroying a POI is as it sounds, completely destroying a place to make it completely unavailable for anyone. POI remains the place to move troops, but there is nothing there to harvest or use and never will be. Pillaging a POI reduces No. Now we get to the fun part where I get to talk about war crimes. So, pillaging a POI reduces the operational integrity of the opposing faction, of the faction being pillaged by 1. While destroying a POI reduces the operational integrity of faction the integrity of the defending faction by 2, and the attacking faction by 1. Reduces the operational of the defending faction when pillaging the platoon, the FU currently sacking takes 2 seasons worth of supplies immediately. Actually, when pillaging, the force immediately takes 2 seasons worth of the resources produced. When destroying, the force takes a full year's worth of resources immediately. Cultural and tactical points do not produce resources, but simply are rendered unusable for the duration of the war crime. A defending faction may destroy a tactical point without suffering a penalty. Either side may commit further minor war crimes, which simply lowers their operational integrity by 1, but produces additional resources or benefits. So effectively, what's the defending faction may destroy a tactical point without suffering a penalty? What that is quite literally burning. That's, for example, let's say you have a couple bunkers that you're using to defend. You know you're going to get overran in them eventually. So that's lining them with explosives, running as fast as you can, and detonating them, just to make sure that the enemy can't use them. You know, just like, hey, you want it? Come and get it. You know, like, if you want to kill us, you want to get, something valuable from us, you're going to have to kill us. Very much it's a not fun thing to do. You don't want to destroy valuable things, because again, it's gone forever. You don't get it anymore, and that means they don't get it. But maybe that's the point. Because ultimately speaking, why a majority of war crimes are committed isn't because people enjoy committing war crimes. The majority of war crimes are committed because it's a last-ditch maneuver. It's a thing that they have to do, or think they have to do to win this conflict. You know, in Africa, I'm going to use Africa as an example. Is in Africa, you might kill an entire village because they're not going to help you, and you don't want them to just give guns to the enemy. So in your mind, it might say like, well, shit. Kill everyone, draft as many soldiers as we can. Force them to fight for us. Because, again, they're not going to help us. Or, hey, we don't want them to use this oil. We can't hold the oil. Burn the oil. Here, it's it's shock and awe tactics, kind of. It's the, well... yeah, no, you're seeing... People don't commit war crimes just for Lamau committing war crimes. That's not a... That's very much a fallacy, kind of attributed by here, us glorious Western folks. That's kind of a fallacy that we've committed, just because like people that commit war crimes for fun. No one commits war crimes for fun. They'll always have a reason. Is it a good reason? No, never. But that's why it occurs, is people get desperate and people have to do something rash or people do something stupid just to win the war. Because again, if we win the war, it doesn't matter. But are they? And I actually addressed that. If we go down, right here. I actually addressed that. It's people sometimes do fucked up things for fucked up reasons, mostly to relieve themselves of stress or reward their men when they're feeling down. Effectively, I put that in there to like, if you can do this, you restore morale, but again, you're committing a war crime but you're also forcing your men to release the beast. You becoming a monster, effectively. And I might need to... I'm going to mark this in red because I might need to take a look at it later. Also, here's all of the UN's official cut-down list of war crimes. Targeting civilians. -2 operational integrity for criminal faction. Hostage taking using child soldiers. -1 operational integrity for criminal faction. Oh yeah, I know on a direct level, of course, but you have to look at it from a command's point of view. You know, very much top down. Like this wasn't like let's just go around and start killing people because it's fun. Like you're doing that for a deliberate. You want to cause terror. You effectively want people to lose faith in their government, being like our government literally cannot protect us. And obviously, you, the daring hero, swoops in and being like, "Aha! I can save you from these raging psychopaths." It's because they're in my pocket, obviously, and I sign their paychecks, but I can stop them if you follow me. Africa's fascinating. Oh yeah, but that's always going to be a part. You know, people do fucked up things for fucked up reasons, but that's not usually the overriding, cause. That's what I'm trying to get across more than anything. Yeah, it's mostly for strategic goals. But rarely is it just kind of... It's not like a party people go out there and have fun with, no. Oh, God, I have to do these again, won't I? Shit. I might just do these off camera, because it's just going to be me having to fix things. Okay, supply lines. have to put supply lines up above. Oh my god. Oh my god. Yeah, no, it's lagging now. It's lagging. Calm down. Calm down, buddy. We're going to make it. Let's see. We want... I could go on a rant about fucking Africa, and I don't want to really get into that. It's a long and very complicated story there. But like with parachutes and in turn pilots, it's pilot on the way down. You cannot shoot a pilot is a non-combatant as he is shot out of the air and ejects. And he is forced, but the second he lands, he has to surrender himself if captured. If he does not surrender himself, he's considered a combatant. Paratroopers, on the other hand, are considered enemy combatants as they are willingly coming down to invade, effectively. So you are free to shoot them down. Obviously, though, you can't. The problem is there's sometimes a hard distinction between is that a paratrooper or is that a soldier flying out of his fucking plane, and not much you can do if, oh no, he accidentally hit a pilot who ejected with flak cannon and now he's 15 pilots currently descending rapidly toward Earth. Like, oh no. Let's see. All roads lead home. Well, an army marches on its stomach. But things don't go the way we hope, and supply orders reflect its characters and their factions see it. As the characters and their faction sees resource, their force sees resources. And then supply lines starting at their faction's base or forward operating base. Each POI can support a certain number of supply lines that is traced to a nearby POI. If any of the points in the middle of the supply line is taken, all supplies further down the line are lost. For example, the blues and reds have seized territory, something like this. All supply lines redirected back to their faction base, the circles. If these two factions were to escalate an open conflict over Blue's northern cultural point, we'll call it the resource point. Resource point conflict would involve seizing POI. Reds would seize the wealth directly, seize the resource point. Resource point directly. They would only take away the resources. However, if they decide to move the forces like this, they would seize both the supply point and the cultural point. So supply point directly, take away resources. Mostly Blue's retaliation performing similar maneuver down south, seizing the supply point. The supply point down south to cut off from valuable resource. Cut off a valuable cultural point. From the Reds, as the war continues, the two factions may have to weigh what's valuable and what can be lost, all while trying to destroy enemy forces. Final note is that a POI, if a POI, final note is if a POI is destroyed in a war crime, it would immediately sever all its connections to and a faction would have to recapture the lost points. This does not mean it's possible to lose permanent access to certain points. The supply line simply cannot support moving all the resources. I might do something like that. Like, congratulations, you get a worthless medal. Let's see, not every battle is won with force farms. You know what? I don't think this is... I don't really need Dramatis Personae. Don't think that's really... Let's see, expanded points of interest. Air bases, able to launch aerial military base, always counts as fortified. All FUs always counts as fortified. All counts as a forward operating base. FOB. Trading hub. Begone, trading hub. You are very useful for literally anything except not this. No. Take out all the wealth points because we don't really have any wealth points per se. Can I fit the military base on you? Yes, I can. Split resource points. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Oh, God, I may want to... Fuel depots, foodstuff points, industrial centers. Do I want to add all the really weird, bizarre magic guns? Not quite. Yeah, welcome to some of the weird, wacky shit in Africa, everyone. I love weird, wacky shit in Africa. Also, don't have the notepad document up for some reason. Doink. I don't know if I'm high or I'm low. Drugs are a fact of life. Wait, is Ragnite addictive? Ragnite. Valkyria. Let's see. Is Ragnite technically, it's industrial. Ragnite generator. Healing abilities naturally. Ragna heal effect. Ragnade. Ragnade, first aid device. Might refine. Wow. Whoa. Ragnade. Alright. Oh, God. Is Ragnade technically addictive? This is a question I have to ask myself. I don't believe Ragnade is actually addictive. So do I actually want to incorporate good old-fashioned drugs? You know what? Yeah, screw it. I'm gonna keep it as here. Let's see, but delete the health boosters. Good old withdrawal symptoms. Okay. Which brings me, I have to go up to equipment. Oh, God, I'm going to have to put all the Ragnade in here, aren't I? Thus she has a dislike of Ragnade. Alright, so, what is Ragnade at the end of the day? Ragnade is super healing stuff. So, yeah, we'll do Ragnade SMX. Ragnade S, heals all limb damage by 2d6. Ragnade M, heals all limb damage by 2d10. And Ragnade X heals all limb damage. Heals limb damage by 2d10. There we go. Heals limb damage by 2d6. 2d6 distributed. 2d10 distributed. There we go. Nice and easy. I've done the Ragnade. Oh, God, what other things do I have to think about? Ragnade. Var? The hell's Var? Yes. Yes. How can I forget that you can have instruments in these games? Yes. How can I forget such key parts of the lore? I've been streaming for 2.5 hours. I am dying internally. Let's see. Tag names. Let's see, we want to do... We want 4. And we're going to die... God, it's lagging so badly. Please kill me. Ragnade and other supplies. Why are you in Courier New? Holy shit. Why are you Courier new? I hate it. I hate it so much. Ew. Ew. Ew, go away. I hate Courier new. I have nightmares of this font. Why is it Courier new? So random. Nah, I usually go before the stream. I also have a fucking iron gut when it comes to that. Wait, where'd the fucking thing go? Okay, so... Oh, God. Ragnade. Ragnade variety. Ragnade. Range. Effect. Charges. Actually, it'll be... Charges. Effects. Range is going to be 5 meters. 10 meter. 5 meters. You can't realize the fatigue is getting to me slightly. 5 meters across the board. Charges are going to be 1, 5, 5 effects. And then heals all limb damage. Ragnade S. Ragnade M. Ragnade X. I feel like I should be adding more things here, but I'm not going to now because I don't quite know what I want to add. So let's go all the way up here. You could probably tell that this fucking document is chugging. It does not like what I am doing to it. All right. So we've gotten down to about here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a note here. Endpoint stream 3. And let's see. We have expanded rules. I need to probably, I'm going to keep the drugs right here. Probably I'm going to scrap, actually, part of me wants to scrap this, the other part of me doesn't. This isn't even factoring in the Valkyria stuff. Ooh. Nope, I think I'll keep it for now. I need to keep all these things because I don't quite know how I want to do things. So, we are at 100 pages with 16,476 words. Oof. Alright, so... where are we on here? So, we are... I can get rid of you. Pretty much done with this. And I'm no longer going to worry about you. So, what I still need to do... I'm going to do some patchwork on that later, probably. And then I'm probably going to do another section on this. Just going to be like a little paragraph or even a side note kind of noting, the differences between this is what an Imperial force looks like, this is what a Federal force looks like, this is what a Galleon force would kind of look like, and some of the differences between them. But overall, we're actually almost done with this. I would say the hardest part currently we're working with is... let me get my primary information. Integration of magic and the Valkyria. And the Valkyria proper. Because the Valkyria are a thing, and they're like an important part of everything, and you always have to worry about them, but I don't know how to put them in yet, so I'm just going to put a note there. But thank you all for watching. I hope you've all had a fun stream. It's been 2.5 hours of listening to a man ramble to himself about force limits and talking about war crimes. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Godspeed, and good luck, everyone. See you most likely Wednesday? Maybe tomorrow if I'm feeling up to it. But goodbye.